I've been speaking with author Margart Lock about Alzheimer's disease. And I have one more question, and that is this. There is an artist by the name of William Utermohlen who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. In fact, one of his drawings is on the cover of your book. I want you to tell us about him. Who was he?
William Utermohlen was an American. He was born in America. He was born in Philadelphia, grew up in Philadelphia, and was an artist. And a lot of his early paintings were done in Philadelphia, particularly to do with the very famous Mummers Parade, which is celebrated there every year. But he happened to marry an English woman, and they moved to England, and they settled there and lived in London. And I think he lived there most of his life once they'd moved there. And very sadly, he developed Alzheimer's quite early, really. He was in his 60s, which is very early and rather unusual. And he was seeing a psychiatrist to try and help with this situation, and the psychiatrist asked him whether he would consider to keep up his painting while he was getting sicker, to try and help the medical people to understand what was going on in his mind, what he was struggling with as the disease progressed. And he agreed to do that. And so he has done a large collection of paintings that took place over a relatively short period of time, of 10 years, about 10 years, where he's documenting, in a way, the struggle that he has to keep painting.
And what is the effect that the disease has on his art, as you see it?
Well, there are two or three very obvious things. One is that with paintings where he situates himself with other people, with his wife and her friends, he always appears separate. Sometimes he might have the cat on his lap, but he's observing, he's sitting as an outsider and observing. So there's a good number of paintings like that. And then there are others where he is clearly on his own and struggling one way or another. And one of the most moving pictures is of him he does a lot of self-portraits at this stage, which are extraordinarily moving, really close-up self-portraits. And one is with a saw beside him, vertically in the picture frame right beside him. And what we learn is that he had agreed to an autopsy of his brain after he died, just shortly before he started on that picture. And then at the very end, the pictures get just so moving, it's quite unbearable.
How important are activities like painting for Alzheimer's patients? Do they play a role?
Well, there are a lot of efforts now to try and help people to alleviate what's happening to them through programs of art, programs with poetry, and programs with music. And of course, there's social events too. You don't sit by yourself painting, but you get together. And I think that increasingly there are more and more efforts being made to help with that kind of thing. And it does seem to have a very positive effect. I'm sure not with everybody, but with a good number of people, it is quite possible that it slows down the progression. And as the medical world says often, if you can just give someone 5 more years of their life, they're going to be very old by then.
Margart Lock, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Support Ontario's public television. Donate at tvo.org.